Let's see. Um, so, do you have any regrets? I guess I hate to say regrets. This is such a typical question, but don't blow on me, okay? Do you have any regrets on the journey here, on the journey to now?
If you asked me that question a year ago, 2 years ago, I would say yes.
Okay.
Because I felt like I wasted a lot of time. But actually being here in this moment, preparing, having everything that I need, I would say no. I believe every step in this process was necessary, because I know what it is to experience lack so that I can meet the need. I know how it feels to think you're ready and then something happens and you realize I'm not where I thought I was. I know how it feels to get your heart broken, where you have to move forward, but you don't know how you're going to or if you're going to be able to. I know how to be faithful in hard seasons. I've had to do that. And so I believe the timing is right now. Like, I'm not too late. I'm definitely not early. I know I'm right on time because I have experienced so many seasons, and I know the importance of being consistent and faithful in this, even when things get hard, because I was in seasons where things were hard and I didn't have what I needed. Yeah. And I never want to be in a position where I have the ability to meet a need. I'm called to meet a need. It is my assignment to meet a need, and I'm not on my post. Yeah. So I believe that now I can truly say I have no regrets.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, um, okay, the next thing that came to my mind is 3 words. And I want you to define them in the way that you think of them. The 3 words are past, present, and future.
When I think about the past, I think about development and growth. I would not be who I am, where I am, with what I have without my past. I would not have even known I was lacking anything without my past. Present is peace and gratefulness. I know I am right where I'm supposed to be. And I am so grateful that I finally got here. Yes. Because I think some people, they have that vision in front of them. They know kind of what they're going to do, but because of distractions or because of pain or because of hopelessness, they quit. They keep living every day, but they quit pursuing that thing. And it was work to find out what my passion is, to find out what am I supposed to be doing, to even realize that I enjoy this. So yeah, it's peace and gratefulness. But when I think about the future, it makes me think about fulfillment. I have not lived my life being fulfilled because I've spent so much time trying to heal and in pursuit of this, not knowing this is what it was. So to know that I can live my ladder doing what I enjoy, developed in my gift and continuing to develop, and knowing I found the thing that's going to lead to other things, but this is what we're doing right here. This is the thing. This was what I was pursuing. This is what I was working for. This is what I was crying about. So the idea of walking into a season where I can live fulfilled because I know my purpose and I can operate it in it is almost unreal for me, because I sometimes didn't think I had a thing, or I didn't think it was going to happen.
well. As a woman with all those, the past, the present, the future, anticipation of the future, living in your now, appreciating what it took to get here, and knowing that is over. And a mother and a young mother, going through all the challenges, you have your children, your husband, married, all these things, all these different angles, all these different perceptions and hats. As a woman, as a daughter of God, as identity, you have all these hats, but as your identity as God's daughter, what would you consider being wise as a serpent but harmless as a dove?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, that's a good question. And let me tell you why it's a good question. Because you are always continuously tested in this area. But when you're in your purpose, it is so important that you live in that space. Because now the enemy is after you for a different reason. Now it's not keep you from being there. It's keeping you from maintaining it, or keeping you from thriving here, or keeping you from bearing fruit here. That's the goal. His goal switches. Wise as a serpent means you think before you speak. It means you think about the cost of what you say and what you do. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to do the wrong thing sometimes. But the majority of the time, you think about the cost. I know what it cost to get here. It was expensive. And I do not want to forfeit my present or my future.
Yes.
Because I wasn't as wise as a serpent. Gentle as a dove is remembering that no matter who you're dealing with, who you're talking to, they have hearts too. And they have pain too.
Yes.
And they have trauma too. And no, it's not the same. And no, you don't excuse their behaviors or what they do or what they say, but you can acknowledge that they have a heart.
Yeah.
So how I deal with them, how I address them, how I tell them the truth, how I communicate with them matters, because I'm supposed to be gentle as a dove. I'm supposed to fly in. I'm not supposed to be the elephant in the tea shop that tears everything up. I'm not supposed to be the serpent that kills you by biting you. How do I move still in truth, but in love? And that delicate balance is hard, but it's attainable. And the reason I can put down my crown at God's feet and lay in his presence is because it's a reminder of my humanity, of my limitations, and of the fact that somebody had to do me that way for me to get here. Somebody had to be wise as a serpent but gentle as a dove for me to develop into the woman that I have become. So how dare I not extend that to someone else? Because this person I'm meeting right in this moment, if I can help it, she's not going to be this person forever. And so I must move in that way, because that's how I can have the most impact.
Yes. Wow. Very good. Once again, very good. Okay, I'm going to ask 2 more questions so you have a solid 5.
Okay.
My next question is, because you're talking about accountability, pretty much it helps you to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Accountability, in a nutshell, for a woman, this is what it looks like. This is what you've had to endure. I want to talk about the contrast of when we think something is light and when we think something is dark. And what dark, but this is the twist. When it's dark and it's good for you, and when it's light and when it's bad for you. And so what are the I guess the question would be, what are the things that you've noticed for women that we could fall into that looks like dark, but it's actually good for us, or we follow that's light that's bad for us?
You have really great questions. So I'm gonna start with the light first. Okay. The light that looks like good for us, but it's actually bad for us. Exposure too soon. We want to use our gifts, and we want to be seen, and we want to be in the open, and with this kind of popcorn mentality, society where it's YouTube famous and Instagram famous, and exposure too soon is the worst light you could have, because you have not developed what you need to handle what comes with that light. I am so glad God said no and wait, and you're not ready, because as I am now, I can look back 5 years when I thought, oh, I'm ready to do this, and he said, no, you're not. I know why. I wasn't ready. I wasn't developed enough. I wasn't resilient enough. I had too much baggage. I could have, depending on when things happen, could have bled on the people. Areas I thought I was healed, I wasn't. So the worst light is being exposed too soon, especially to the world. Because the world is going to have opinions. They're going to attack you. And that's in the church, outside, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, someone is going to have opinion about what you say, what you do, how you carry yourself, what you wear, how you... If you're not developed enough, you will allow that to just chip away at your identity, your confidence, your perception of yourself, and even your perception of others. You have to know who you are before you are exposed. Even when you know who you are, you will struggle. But imagine if you do not know who you are and you are exposed. You have nothing. Your floor falls out. You have no foundation. Nothing to keep you stable or keep you standing when the world shakes. Planted like a tree. Tree has roots. They go deep. So when the wind blows and the water comes, branches may break, but the root system doesn't. And that's so important. Now, your other question, we're talking about the dark that's good, but it feels bad. It's those lowest places in your life where you feel abandoned, alone, lonely. You may have people around you, but you as a individual, married, a lot of children, you feel alone. We want to avoid those spaces with busyness, with full calendars, with pretending like everything's okay and putting on masks. But I will tell you that it is necessary for us to sit in those dark places, because that's when God reveals the areas that we need growth, the areas where we need healing. He doesn't reveal that in the light when things are good.
No.
It's in the dark when you don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to figure it out, or what am I going to... That he sits in those spaces with you and reminds you, hey, you're not alone. Let me tell you why you're here. You're not here because of me. You're here because of your heart. Or you're here because you haven't forgiven, or you're here in this space because you thought you released something, but you're still holding on to it. It's in those hard places that we develop the most, that we heal, that we come into an understanding of our strengths and our weaknesses, so that we never believe we can do anything outside of God. And so when you get in the light, you don't forget, oh, but I remember. I'm not too far away from that dark space I was in and what got me there. So let me stay focused and let me stay humble
Yes.
And let me stay centered.
Yes.
Because just as quick as I can get in the light,
yes,
I can get back in the dark.
Yes.
And for a reason that I should not have to be there. Because every dark space is not necessary.
No.
Every low place is not. Some of those we bring on ourselves.
Yeah.
But there are lessons in those. And I don't want to repeat any lessons.
Yes.
Time's good.
Yes. There's safety in the dark places.
There's safety. That's how he covers you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that circles back around to not being exposed too soon. So it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Yes. So pretty much, in a nutshell, safety in the dark places, and accountability in the light because of what you went through in the dark place, and celebration.
Yeah.
And so that's really good. Woo, girl. Okay. So this is the most important one.
Okay.
God even says it's the most important. You know, we talk about having faith without action is dead. And it's so important to have the action. And we talk about how hope is a substance of things, faith is a substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. And even though I'm talking about faith a lot and talking about hope, that's not the most important.
Yeah.
The most important thing for you to even walk in those things properly is love. And so my question is about love. And the question is, after experiencing love in condition.
Take me to a place.
And when I mean love in condition, it goes deep because not love in a condition just from other people, but love in the condition that you gave yourself. So the conditioned love versus the free, unconditional love. What is the difference for you?
Whew.
I'm putting you to work.
Boy.
And this is the last question.
Yes, this is a good one. I'm going to take my time because I want to be intentional about how I answer, and I want to answer it not only thoughtfully but truthfully.
Yes.
Love with condition.
For yourself.
I will tell you this. You will never be able to love anyone, including yourself, without condition until you experience, not hear about, not talk about, but experience what God's unconditional love feels like, looks like, and that does not come through people. I will tell you that probably one of the deepest experiences I have had with the Lord, when he was asking something from me that was expensive.
Yes.
And he rarely gives you what it's going to cost, how painful it's going to be, and how to prepare all at one time.
Yeah.
And I knew it was heavy because he gave it to me all at once. And asked me to grieve in that space.
Yeah.
Before I had even experienced it. When I experienced it, the grief overtook me in such a way that I did not know if I was going to come out of it. And he spoke to me and he said, see, this is how much I love you. Because I prepared you for the grief. That's the only reason why I came out of it.
Wow.
He knew his daughter enough to prepare me for pain.
Yes.
And he doesn't do that with everybody, but he knew what I needed. And I think that is the reflection of what unconditional love is. It's not that I always give you what you want. It's not that I always make you feel good. It's not that we always get along or that we don't argue or don't get angry. And I'm talking about God, yes, because I get angry with God. I don't argue with him.
I try not to.
I say what I have to say, but he don't really talk back in those moments because I already know he's in control, but he allows me to have those moments to kind of get it out and say what I need to say because he already knows anyway. But it doesn't mean that you're going to give me what I want or make me feel how I want to feel, but it does mean that you're going to do everything in your power to prepare me for what is coming and what is next. I feel like that is the deepest way God can love us. And what we don't understand is that he's always waiting to talk to us, to share with us, to give us insight. We have to create the space for him to come in that space. All he desires to do is spend time with us and love us. But in that intimacy, he gives us secrets.
Yes.
That was a painful secret. But imagine how painful it would have been if that had happened with no preparation. So love yourself enough to prepare.
Oh, whoa.
So
love yourself enough to, I'm gonna sit. Oh, okay.
So what does that mean? You really don't know what's going to happen in this life. Who you're gonna lose, when you're gonna lose them. What plans are gonna work, which ones are not. I thought, God, that's what you said. I must have misheard. Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But love yourself enough to prepare. How do you prepare? Understand you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Walking in humility. Cultivating relationships, especially with the people that truly love you and always have your best interest. They're not perfect.
Yeah.
But their motive is not to bring harm.
Yeah.
Or pain.
Yeah.
Prepare. Love yourself enough to prepare for this life, because God loves us that much to prepare us. And I think when I got an understanding of that, that's when I was like, Brianna, you all right. Wow. You have moments.
Wow.
You're going to cry. You're going to get angry. You're going to say things you shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But I've prepared.
Yeah.
I know how to lay things at God's feet.
Yeah.
I know how to admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I know how to say, you know what? That's on me. I'm sorry. And if you're angry for 2 minutes or a year, I have to give you your space. But I won't allow you to sit in that space without me acknowledging that I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that has also created space in my relationships so that I can love others without condition.
Ooh.
But you have to grow into that with certain people, with certain offenses. That's not you wake up and it happens.
Yeah.
You have, you mad, I'm mad, you mad. But I have to give you space.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a process.
Yes.
Like, the nerve of you to be mad at me when you was the one and I was, but I apologize, but you didn't apologize and you was wrong. Again, give them their, take accountability. We talked about for you, your part.
Yeah.
And then give them their space to grow into whatever it is that, and you will find that you will keep more relationships that way, especially the ones that are healthy, because you're going to have turbulence even in healthy relationships.
And that taking accountability, like you said, for your own heart is also the covering that some of us need. When we're like, well, how do I protect myself from people who hurt me? You don't have to shut anybody up. You just have to make sure you can take yourself for accountability, because now you're not living by anybody else's standards.
Exactly.
You're living by the standard of God and his love.
That part. And that's what he means by guard your heart.
Yes.
He's not saying shut people out and be disconnected and be alone. Give people their space. And give yourself the space. Whatever that may mean, in whatever season that may mean, because that changes.
It does.
I love myself enough to acknowledge this is not good for me, and you're not going to change. I'm going to give you the space to be who you are, but I'm also going to create space for myself so that my heart is safe. I love you. I pray for you, but I love myself unconditionally. God be with you.
And I just want to point out while we're on here, unconditionally does not mean not being accountable, because some people mistake unconditional love as I can do whatever I want to do as entitlement, and that is not unconditional love. It is very contradictory to everything you just said. To be entitled is not to be unconditional, is not to be accountable for your own heart. Have the integrity. Look up integrity if you need to. You know what I'm saying? Have the integrity to follow through. Have the accountability for your own heart, for your own actions, because where your heart is, your mind, your mouth, your actions follow. So if you're not good at taking accountability after you spilled out the action, take accountability inside, so it never has to happen. Don't let things manifest. You know,
absolutely. And that's so good, because people throw around those terms so lightly.
Like Lowry season, girl, just putting
on
it on everything.
accountability, unconditional love. Like they throw it. I'm just, it's validating your wrong. But guess what? If that's what you want to choose to do, you have free will to make those decisions. But I am not going to participate in your inability to be accountable for what you say and what you do.
Yes.
Your inability to love me well. Your inability to handle my heart well.
Exactly.
I can't allow you in that space because it's not safe for you or me.
Yes.
Because then that puts me in a position where I may stop loving you unconditionally, or I may have an issue with unforgiveness, or I may transition into bitterness or anger or rage. And then where does that leave me? How am I going to pour out healthy if I have allowed my heart to be tainted with things that I could have avoided if I just created space?
Man.
Space doesn't mean I don't love you. Space means let's keep us both safe.
You are making my mind go so many things.
We got to stay safe.
We have to. And this just goes to show us that, because when you said that it's not safe, that also because some of us are still not have developed the wisdom to understand when to move when it comes to people making us their God. Instead of leaning on their own faith, and then you sit here trying to fix them, and you're drained, you don't understand, and you're like, I'm just trying to help. But it's like, no, you can't be someone else's God. God is God. Adam is Adam. Eve is Eve. Be the soil. Whatever someone gives you, if they're giving you nastiness, eventually that's what you're going to multiply, because we are the soil. Women are multipliers. Men are planters. And God is creator of all. But if somebody is planting stuff at you and telling you, you got to deal with it, eventually it's going to multiply worse than what that person gave you. You're going to give it to everybody else.
Yeah.
We have to understand the identity of what it means to be a woman, called a woman from God's mouth, that we multiply things.
Whatever we take in.
That is being wise, knowing, okay, if I take this in, naturally, because I am a woman, I can multiply this somewhere else. And it may not be out loud. It may be in cancer. It may be in some type of sickness. It may be in your finances. It may be in your mental health. It will multiply. It will multiply, because remember, Eve, she got persecuted for what she did, right? But she got persecuted in a way to where her labor pains would be increased. That was an internal thing because of what she allowed. She allowed herself to be God to Adam.
Because she changed what God said.
And so
in her mind first, and then it turned into action. That's good. That's really good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's just. So we have to understand that this, the first thing we need to be accountable for is the identity that God has called us by. You can believe it, not believe it, but the sun is outside.
Yeah.
A blind person can't see the sun, but they can feel that heat on their skin when it's there. So regardless if you're up to par on your self-esteem, which is self-esteem, esteem of self, regardless if you're there or not, encouraging yourself or not, understand that some things are just truths, and that your self-esteem has to escalate and grow to the truth. But walk by the truth. And this is sometimes also walking by faith. You know how they say fake it till you make it? We're not faking it. We're just living it until we believe it.
That part.
That is the part. We know God, what God said. Sometimes that's all you have. Your heart is dark or it's too overran by so many things. But what you can't do is live by what he says until you can experience what he says.
And I will tell you that is the truth.
Yes.
Because I had to do just that.
Woo, me too.
I am here because I lived according to what he said, not what I saw, not what I felt, not what I believed. What he said.
What he said.
That's all I had.
Yes.
That is what kept hope.
Yes.
Because I've experienced many seasons of hopelessness. Why did I become hopeless? Because I stopped focusing on what he said. That's when hopelessness sinks in. If your focus is living, walking, following what he said, hopelessness cannot live with you. It can't. There's no way, because he's going to give you whatever you need along the way to keep you hoping, to keep you connected, to make sure that your faith though it may waver, stays intact. It's only in the seasons where I stopped focusing on what he said that I became hopeless. So that is the drive. That's the care for me.
Yeah.
And when I get in that type of mindset, because it does happen, where I'm like, what am I doing? What happened? Why am I here?
Yeah.
What did I say? And I will say, and I recommend anyone that has not tried this, when he says what he says, write it down. Because when you get in those seasons, you need something tangible.
Yeah.
With a date that you can go back and reference.
Yes. Yes.
I wrote this on January 20th, 2006. I'm looking at January 20th, 2023. And this word applies. Absolutely. That will carry you farther than trying to pretend like you're fine or trying to Frankenstein solutions to problems that aren't really problems but opportunities to help you grow or to position you for where God wants you.
And and that when you say pretending that you're fine, and I just want to clarify that when you are walking by faith to get to the point where your self-esteem is where it needs to be, it doesn't mean you ignore your heart. It means you keep an open dialogue with God, because that's the only way to get there. You have to keep an open dialogue with God. You have to remind yourself that you have to be accountable for your own healing. People will break you all day. They will try to break you all day. But this is what's so wonderful about healing to wholeness, is that once you can be healed, but that wholeness will let you see mess from a mile away. You'll be like, oh no, that's not for me. It didn't even say hello yet.
Love yourself unconditionally.
Unconditionally. But every question that you answered connects to one another. Being prepared, accountability, self-love, the dark places that it's right here. The dark places.
We have the sound.
Where we have the sound.
Yeah.
But the dark places that that actually are good, safety and good for us, even though it may not feel comfortable and things like that, they all come back around, because this is the place, in your dark places is where you're going to learn how to be accountable, is when you're going to learn where your self-esteem was broken in the first place, is where you're going to learn. And so by the time you're ready for the light, by the time it's the time for that season, you're on camera, you're
we'll edit this part out.
Okay, you almost got on there. I thought that was okay. That's just the side of the screen. Okay.
That wasn't funny.
So I gotta go. So it's so interesting that and so I just wanted to make sure people heard that too, because putting up a wall against people, God will send people that are loving, and be careful how you treat those who love you well when you are broken.
Ooh.
Be careful how you don't be the one that they said I had to get away from.
Don't be
on the other side of that statement.
Don't be.
Be on the right side of love. Be on the right side of love. And because God will send people to love you. And sometimes those people that love you, that God sends you in the season where you're not loving yourself, know that they may not be people that stay, and it may not be because you have a falling out. It's because God has to give it to you in bursts, small bursts, because you're not capable of holding that much.
And not only that, he does not want them to become your God.
Yes.
He sends them in seasons to say, hey, you're loved. Hey, you're not alone. Hey.
Yeah.
But the goal is to point you towards him.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at them and seeing them as your source, or your solution, he has to remove them, because that becomes a pillar. That becomes an idol. That becomes not what he intended. And so when you go back and think about people that had to be removed, or had to move on, or had to grow beyond where you were, when you go assess those moments, really look at, was it you? Was it God that just wanted your attention? What was the true purpose? Because anybody that's in your life is for a purpose. No one just comes in your life for no reason. Whether it's temporary or whether it's long term, they come for a purpose. Just because they leave does not cancel out the purpose. The purpose was completed because they left, because the connection is no longer there. And it does not necessarily mean that it won't come back around.
It does not mean relationships are like lungs. They expand and they decrease, and sometimes in the expansion you're further away, and sometimes in the collapse you are closer together.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's not working for your good.
Yeah.
You gotta have it all. You gotta have both sides
working for your good. And you have to always consider, which is creating space, that everyone has free will.
Exactly.
They have a choice. Always.
And
Always.
remember, if you choose, it is your choice.
It's your choice.
If you choose, but remember, it was your choice. So don't get mad about God, about the things that happen, the repercussions that happen. It's like, God, you abandoned me. God said, you stepped outside of me.
You chose.
It was your choice.
Yeah.
Now, you can always come back home.
You're always welcome.
But you can't. And I heard Lady London say this. She's a rapper. And she said that whatever I have to get, whatever I get, if I get it outside of God, I don't want it. So, because I have to stay outside of Him to keep it.
That part.
And I it's not worth my soul.
Oh,
and
my time.
Yes.
Or my energy.
No.
Or the consequences.
It's not.
Good.
It's not.
Life is hard enough.
It's been hard enough. It's hard when you're doing right.
Yes.
Okay. So why are we asking for it?
Yeah.
But I want to say, and it's still recording on this end, but I want to say to you, Miss Brianna Standerfer.
Oh, Lord.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You did very good today.
Thank you.
You answered all those questions, child. Them were some questions from God Himself, child.
Yeah, you was hitting me with some good
I was like,
I said, whoo.
It was
Let me
like,
think about that one. Oh, man.
But
I love stuff like this because it really, what it gives me an opportunity to do is really assess, like,
yeah,
this is what it took. I can talk about and not break down in tears.
Yeah,
what it took to get here.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, when you see, like, this whole conversation, even, you know, both of us working in our gifts, you know, iron. This is what it looks like after iron has sharpened iron.
Yeah.
See, God talks about iron sharpening iron. He talks about, you know, Mary coming in. We hear how Mary came in and her cousins, you know, John, the baby, leaped and everything. This is after the leap.
Yes.
This is after the leap. And
this
so
is when the babies are here.
Yes. We raising these purpose babies together.
Yes, we are.
It takes a village.
Huh.
And you remember what God told me? He said, if it takes a village to raise a child, what you think it takes to raise a purpose? A nation.
Because we need people.
Yes.
We need each other. We can't do it without each other. It's not possible.
You've done good. And I just want to say, we're living in a prophetic moment right now.
Yes, we are.
Did you notice? The camera is on you.
I know. Yeah, and I'm here.
And you're here.
Physically, no, here, like in the castle, like here. Yeah.
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 The last time you were here, the prophecy was told.
Yeah, it was.
This time,
it's actually
happening. And how far apart was that? Just months.
Ah!
You can let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that on camera because I want that recorded
into
the thing. But yeah, you're living in an answered, not just an answered prayer, but a promise whispered in your ear that you didn't understand the language, but your soul paid attention to. Your spirit woke up to.
It really
came so fast.
I mean, they're ugly crying.
Yeah. We got the ugly cry for real.
Yeah,
y'all, we're gonna ugly cry.
We are. It's gonna be ugly. I just want y'all to know.
We're not gonna record that.
We're not recording that part. But it's definitely happening.
We're gonna pull Miss Ann in over here.
Yeah.
Over here laughing in the background.
Oh my God.
But
we're living
in
a prophetic moment.
God whispered something in your ear. Not just Brianna, but everyone listening. God whispered something in your ear when you were born, before you were born, when He created you. That was just something between Him and you. And He held Himself accountable for that. He held Himself accountable for bringing the promise to fruition. He said, little one, I promise you, I will always show up for you. Little one, I have this in store for you. I promise this to you. I saw God whispering in my ear. And when He told me this vision, I was a teenager, wondering, will I ever be seen? Do I matter? And God said, there's things that you haven't seen that I have promised you. If you keep with me, you'll see it.
Whew.
And so when you say preparing yourself is self-love, God says not only did he prepare a place for you in the presence of your enemies, but before Adam and Eve were ever here, it only took 5 days. He prepared this world for our presence to be in it. He called us into being, which is interesting. He called us into being after he prepared this space for us. So preparing is most definitely an action that you can implement as self-love.
Wow.
Until you can experience that unconditional love the way you're supposed to.
Wow.
Because God most definitely prepares a place for us.
Ooh.
Jesus. Woo! All right. Here you go. We're going to cut, y'all. We're ready to eat. Bye.